Piece of legislation, the Americans with Disabilities Act, which passed in 1990, and it has had a great impact on the citizens of our community. I'm not sure you think you know about it, but over 50 million Americans have some kind of disability, whether it's physical, sensory, cognitive, or a mental disability. Now, the passage came about as a result of a series of findings and research on things like discrimination against individuals with disabilities that continue to persist in the areas of housing and public accommodations, education, transportation, and communication, also in health services and vote and access to public services. Now, unlike individuals who have experienced discrimination in age and race and color and religious or age, we have had people with disabilities they've been discriminated, they have had no legal recourse. Now, the ADA prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability, including a person who has a physical or mental impairment that sustainability limits one or more major life activities, or they have a history of such an impairment and is perceived or regarded as having such an impairment. Now, the ADA did not just come about as a result of people believing in it. There had to be advocates out there. There are a number of advocates mentioned in the resolution, and I want to just call your attention to about three whose names may be familiar to you. Lockhart Falling Mace. She was actually the first director of the North Carolina Government's Advocacy Council for Persons with Disability. Very dedicated to this particular organization. She was hurt in an automobile accident that left her paralyzed at the age of 21. And then, of course, there was Ron Mace, who was the founder of the program and program director for the Center for Universal Design in Raleigh. He contracted polio at a very early age, and he was relegated to a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He passed away in 1998. And then, of course, there was Ken Franklin, who worked very closely with me. He held positions as the Education and Training Specialist with the North Carolina Governor's Council. And, of course, he also was served for a short period of time as interim director of KCPD. Ken passed away in 2005. And many of you will know that Deborah Greenblatt passed away after a long battle with breast cancer in 2005. She was a passionate advocate for people with disabilities, and she, of course, was the mother of a daughter who had a developmental disability. At the time of her death, she was the executive director of Carolina Legal Services, a position that she held for 23 years, very passionate about the people with disabilities. Thank you.
Mr. President.